friends. Hey, Hope Community Fellowship. Hey, seekers and skeptics alike. I've got a question for us all. What's the purpose of religion? Um, some would tell us that religion essentially is kind of, or was at least, this evolutionary necessity to instill morals in people to help humans flourish, right? And think about it this way. So if karma is true, if I do good things happen to me. If I do bad things happen to me. That's my kind of religious worldview, that I'm inclined to do good things, which is good for humanity. Or maybe you take another a religious system like Islam, right? And if my good deeds outweigh my bad deeds, then there's a future for me. And so there's this thing helping to promote me to do good things, to treat my neighbors well, to make good decisions that benefit humanity in general. Nietzsche, even as he talked about, and many of you probably studied some of Nietzsche, at least in your first philosophy class in college, talked about the will to create, specifically the will to power. And then Karl Marx kind of jumps on this thought and applies it to social institutions, specifically things like religion, things like laws, especially in a system that keeps the middle class pinned down, keeping those in power, because those in power, in order to stay in power, they can do these essentially kind of mask the reality of the people with things like religion and laws. Right? Karl Marx even called religion the opiate of the masses. And so if we can keep people fixated on a future time when things will be good, then they'll stay in their brokenness, and they'll stay in their poverty, and they'll stay hungry, and they won't try to escape that. And those in power will stay in power, because these people, the oppressed, are so fixated on some future reality that the here and now doesn't work, right? And so in that way, capitalism flourishes. That's really not Karl Marx's main idea, but that's a pretty big premise in his kind of philosophical outworking of reality. But is that all religion is? Was it an evolutionary necessity for human flourishing, or was it just something created to keep those in power in power? And that's really not what I think we see in the Christian message. It's the first day of December, second day after the first day of Advent. Well, that was confusing. First day of December, which is also my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, hon. But in this season, we're celebrating, in the biblical narrative, a God that's with us. Right? It's not just a social construct. It's not an evolutionary necessity. It's not something that keeps the oppressed oppressed. It's not what religion is. True religion, as described in the Bible, is caring for widows and orphans. It's loving people. And why do we do that? Why do we do good things? Because in the Christian message, God steps into our reality. He steps into our brokenness. And He suffers with us. And He's tempted alongside us. And yet He is strong enough to defeat those things. And so He dies on our place, and He raises from the dead, and He defeats death and hell and sin and all bad things, that whosoever would look to Him and believe in Him and trust in Him would find life. Fulfilling life. Religion is much more Christianity. Following the way of Jesus is much more than a system to help create good people. Because the reality is, in the Christian message, we find that nobody is a good person. Because we're all selfish. The whole idea of karma is motivated by sin and selfishness. If I do good, then good will come to me. In the Christian message, we're saying that we're not good, at least not good enough. But God steps into our brokenness, and He steps into our sin, And so we celebrate Emmanuel, God with us. Because he knew you couldn't be good enough. That's the whole point of the gospel. That's the whole point of the good news. That God comes in our place, and he's good in our place, and he lives in our place, and he dies in our place. And we trust that. And we believe that. And I just hope that these words bring you some encouragement today. I hope that God would bestow in you peace and faith, that you would grow in his grace and his love, and that you would be encouraged by a God who loves you. Peace be with you.